Okay, here we are, second episode of Forrest Fenn. I'm sure you've watched our KPro interview, which had tons of information, but today we're going to get so deep into potential clues for the Forrest Fenn box, and we're excited for it. I'm Emma.
I'm Jan, and we are Treasure Hunt with Us, coming off our fresh interview with KPro, who was amazing, talking
She was
all
really
about
great.
the Forrest Fenn hunt, all her experiences, and she dove into her solves and had such good insight on Forrest Fenn himself. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's really long. I blame us because we don't stop talking, and that's our fault.
Not at all. The whole time and she was so gracious. She gave us so much time. What I loved about that interview is it looked like three friends just sitting together talking about her experience, and because of that, I got so much from it.
Yeah, so did I. A lot of times I'd forget, oh my gosh, we have to actually talk. We're doing an interview here.
Yeah, we should probably ask some questions.
We can't keep enjoying this conversation.
Right, but she was engaging, she was informative, she was helpful. I mean, she really experienced it firsthand, and after talking with her, I feel like we can gauge a better idea about what people went through, because that's important, right? We did not do the Forrest Fenn hunt. And so we're going to put this video up, and people are going to have a ton of opinions, and people are going to tell us this, and people are going to tell us that. And here's what we have to say. We encourage you to have all of your own opinions. Unfortunately, we don't have an opinion about the Forrest Fenn hunt, primarily because we did not do it. We had no experience at all. We're fresh, brand new baby rookie treasure hunters.
We don't even have a solve for Forrest Fenn. And if we did, I'm pretty sure I would have come up with a 9 Mile Hole or something. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows?
I mean,
it could be right. It could be wrong. Who knows?
But the reality is this, is we encourage everybody to continue to think what you want to think and believe what you want to believe. Let's just try to keep it respectful in the comments and kind, because that's where we come from. We come from a place of kindness, and we come from a place of inclusion. So if you want to say things, go for it. Let's just keep it happy and good. Okay, guys?
Yeah, let's have fun. We're here for fun. And if you're still searching for the Forrest Fenn, or you're going to be looking for the Justin's searches coming out beyond the map, go for it. Nobody's telling you to stop. We certainly are, because we weren't involved in it anyways. We probably would be just as frustrated too. So,
and luckily I said this in the last interview. In all of my research of Forrest Fenn, the part that made it so hard to watch was really watching people be devastated when they got the email that the box was found. And I anticipate that we need to start to prepare for that at some point for JCB's There's Treasure Inside, and then eventually Justin's Beyond the Map, or Map's Edge, whatever we've decided we're all calling that this day. So I think I think you go ahead.
I was going to say, we're just at a really good time to be a treasure hunter, though. So while that's maybe frustrated you got 4 over $1 million treasure hunts happening starting tonight at midnight. Map's Edge is going. We have the JCB. There's 5 treasures, over $3 million now in value. I mean, there's just so many good treasure hunts out there right now, and we're going to try to do as many as we can. So
we're going to do them all, because we're treasure hunt with us. Come do this with us. We want to enjoy it with you. We're going to try to jump into as many. We're doing Estes hunt in just a couple weeks in April. So you were in it for all the fun stuff. We're hoping you're coming along for the ride. Now let's start talking what's important. Let's talk clues.
Yeah.
So we dug in here, and there's a lot to unpack. Like, what's Jon doing in Japan? Why is Japan showing up over and over and over again? I've got a thought. You want to hear it?
I would love to hear it, as long as you don't say it in a poetry format.
I'm so over the poetry. I can't decide if we're just stupid, which is possible, or if poetry is that horrible, which is also possible. I hate it. I hate the poetry.
I think one person did it, and everybody's homaging them. Good on you. It's been homaged.
I mean, it started
next treasure hunt, no
poetry. We're banning it. And I'm just saying, they should have left it there, okay? That's where the poetry should have stayed. But let's talk about it for a second, because when I saw that there was a reference in the very beginning, he opens this chapter with Japan again. Japan? Again. I mean, there's a lot of Japan, right? And so the more I think about it, I'm going to tell you, I'm preparing stuff for our conversation on American Treasure, because I really do think there's something in episode 3 that's huge. But because of that, I thought it's really important to listen to the other episodes again. So I listened to all of them again. And in episode 2, I really kind of heard something interesting for Jon, which I've heard before, obviously, where he says the books are only going to get you so far. And then you're going to go boots on the ground, and you're going to need additional clues. And I think that it's my supposition on the word Japan is that there's going to be something when we get to the boots on the ground for this box, that there's going to be something that draws us in that location about Japan. Whether it's something about the location itself or something you see like a bonsai tree, I don't know. We'll know when we get there because it'll be so Japan laden or heavy. It'll just make sense. And it just doesn't, but I just think it's something to be said there.
Yeah, I mean, just like the Pokemon has so much French references, right? So it has
and
that
Japan.
feeling. Yeah, it does.
Japan.
It just has that feeling
They're
that
both
these
French
boxes,
and Japan. I mean, that's
they're within his mindset. His mindset are
right.
these places that he's visited and that he
Sure.
clearly has a strong inclination to. He
Right.
he mentions it multiple times, and so I think you're right. I think we're definitely looking for something like that.
I think too, another thing is like I found it interesting the use of the word clone twice in this chapter. It's like clone is just an unusual word in the first part, and he talks about if he was cloning himself, he would be this, he would do this, and he would do that, and he would go back and create these multiple lives where he did, he was a rock climber and where he was a paleontologist and all that stuff, and then he comes in and he says it again. Gosh, I had it up and I apologize. I've moved it so I don't have it up anymore because I wanted to have my big thought up in place. But twice in this chapter, he uses the word clone. And I just thought, it's such an unusual word. Why would you use it twice, right?
Well, I like it too. You were saying maybe that means like a Twin Peaks, right?
Right.
And
something,
so something
or like
Twin
two
Peaks.
matching rocks or something where you
Right.
sit there and you're like, again, this is a very relative and real find because it's related to something where your boots on the ground.
Yeah,
I
agree.
Again, go ahead. I'm
No,
sorry.
go ahead. No, you please.
Well, I was just going to say the last piece that I think is super important is the use of the word nascent or nascent. I'm not exactly sure how you say it. But I did look it up because I didn't know what it meant. And it means like the beginning or budding and things like that. And I think it's so relevant that this is the first treasure. I believe, John, this is the first treasure you hit. When you went out and you had 5 boxes, lion's share is going to be last. It's going to be the hardest box to place. It's going to be the heaviest box. And so I think that when you say in your poem that, listen well, or sorry, back it up. Near here it's nestled all in dreams. I've other treasures left to hide. It's because this is the very first treasure. It's your origin story. It's the beginning of why you did this. This is your ode to Forrest. This is all of those things, and it all starts there. And I almost think that it's like that's why he uses the word nascent, is because it's the beginnings and the budding at the start of this story.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. He definitely says treasures. There's definitely treasures hidden after this one. So 100%, that makes perfect sense. I agree with you 100% on that.
Right. So, huge.
Yeah. So when I was going through this, right, my first thing I did, and I know you're really good at ripping apart these chapters. So I did what I'm really good at. I went straight to the poetry. So, and so.
Hey, you can have it. You can be good at the poetry. I'd rather be punched in the face than read the poetry.
Yeah. So.
It's beautiful.
The biggest Forrest Fenn, right? Their biggest thing, and you saw it on the KPro interview. Go watch it if you have not. She constantly mentioned it. That Forrest Fenn will constantly ask people, what's your WWWH? Where warm waters halt. That's your start. If you don't have your starting point, you're never going to get to the treasure. And so that was his big thing. Where's your WWWH, right? Well, now we need to know where our WCWF is, because you have to start, and I'm almost positive that John would have did this. You need to have your where cool waters flow, right? And flow to me is a river, a creek, something that's moving. It's not going to be a lake. Where cool waters flow. That to me is the very beginning spot, the very first clue, probably.
I think that's relevant. I think for 2 reasons that's super relevant. In this stanza, it's the one stanza in the whole poem that John starts and ends with the same word that Forrest started and ended. There was 9 clues in Forrest Fenn's poem. It's logical to believe there would be at least 9 clues just from that that homage, it's logical that there will be 9 clues in Jon's poem as well. And I think that this is, of all of the stanzas, this becomes the most important because, to your point, he's telling you where you start. It's the beginning. He also, in the paragraph before you, is telling you that this is where he thought it was. I cruise along a road I know and park my car just off the side. He's been here. This is where he thought his soul was, and this is where he searched because he spent months in the Rocky Mountains. Months.
Yep.
And that's huge.
I totally agree. And I think he was in Colorado, honestly, or the close to the Colorado, Wyoming areas. So because he says he wasn't close. So to me, that means he probably wasn't in Montana, but who knows?
Or even necessarily
him
Wyoming.
Not close could be like, oh, I was 10 miles away. I wasn't close. Like KPro said that yesterday. I wasn't close. I was 2 miles away. 2 miles? 2 miles? I wish I
would have been like, I almost had it. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 miles? That's where we're different. I was like, dude, I was so close. I was so close. I flew this close to 1,000 miles to come within 2 miles. So, yeah, that's interesting. So the other part of that I thought was really interesting in that same exact stanza, it's to me the most important one. Like you said, it says where once was brown, right? So my first initial thinking is it was brown. It's not brown anymore. So maybe the name changed, right? So I started deep diving, changed names of trails, places, cities. And I can only find 2 so far. One is in Wyoming. It's Camp Brown, changed to Fort Washakie. I hope I did not disrespect that name. Fort Washakie, though, is not public land, right? It's the Wind River Indian Reservation. It's tribal land. I don't think Jon would disrespect any tribal land or go to any tribal lands, or it's probably not going to be there and stuff because you wouldn't want to disrespect that. And the other one was not a name. It's still Brown. It was Brown's Hole, and now it's Brown's Park. Does that count as was once brown? I don't know.
Still brown.
How brown? Still brown, but it's not a hole anymore. It's Brown's Park.
Cow, right?
It's a park now.
Because remember, there is a line where it's up just beyond the Camper's Blaze.
Yes.
Brown Camp. I mean, maybe it goes beyond. I don't really know how close those 2 things are together, but that's something to think about as well.
I agree. So
what else do you have? I know you have a thought.
I do. So in this Brown's Park, which I focused on, it's big. It's in Utah. It's in Colorado. It's in Wyoming also, right? So it's really on the border. And I was looking at places, canyons, obviously, right? And I came across the Cruce Canyon Road area, right? There's basically a road. You can easily get on and off and on there. And when I read that same second one, where after he says the water flows, the Green River flows right through this, right? And if you follow the canyon round, right? So I was looking for something with the canyons, and they have a trail there. Is the Cruce Canyon Loop, Canyon Round. That's where my head went on that.
Right.
So that's a place that was brown. It's still brown, but it's a different brown. So it's changed. It's got a canyon. It's got a loop trail, and that's where I went with that one.
That's huge. I actually don't hate that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, when you think about that too, like again, the use of the circular, like it's his themes. He's thematic. Jon is thematic, so it makes sense that he would want another loop because we believe the Pokemon is going to be on a loop as well.
Well, the Pokemon is how I got to the next thinking. So the Pokemon, right? We're looking for constant trails without dogs. And what is the main reason we found that you can't have dogs on a lot of trails?
Horses.
That's interesting. Because I believe in this. When he goes and he drives his car on the road, he parks his car, he gets off, he goes down, and he must go back to his ride. Not his car. He had to go back to his ride. Now, maybe use that because it rhymed.
So you're thinking versus a car, he's going back to a horse.
It'd make perfect sense to take a horse down there, hauling treasure, to carry it down. If you don't want to carry or backpack it in, You take it to a horse. You could walk back and forth through the horse on
Every
this
time
canyon
I'm
loop.
biking, I wish I was on a horse.
It's a horse trail,
Every single
FYI.
time, I wish I was riding a horse. Every
Right?
single time. I'm like, wish I rode the horse in here. I got to walk back out of this damn valley or cliff or whatever I've almost fallen off of or into. And
Yeah,
if I
because
had a horse, that'd be a different story.
that is true. It would be a lot easier to hike if you were actually riding a horse. So
actually riding a horse, for sure.
Yeah. Well, and what did you say? What was the joke that Dad used to always say?
Yes, our dad used to always say, I rode into town. I solved this puzzle and I'll give you
riddle,
$5. This riddle. I rode into town on Thursday. I left 3 days later on Thursday. How would I do it? Thursday was the horse's name.
It was the horse's name. And it makes sense to me. You know, I know that it just ride seems something else. Like, what else could it be?
Well, and the fact that
it could just be he wanted to rhyme with hide, but yeah.
He mentions his car and then changes to the word ride. That's significant, right? Because words matter. Words matter, and if words matter, then the use of the word ride versus car is a big deal. You don't you ride in a car, you don't ride on a car. He says he's going back to his ride.
Right. And he did say, he said, I've hid treasures left to hide. And that's why he uses the word ride. But he could have said, I hid treasures left to far. And that's why he had to go back to his car. You know what I mean? So it could be.
But his poetry would be really bad.
Yeah. I mean, what's it called? Yeah, probably not. So, you know.
Right.
Anyways, that's just what I came up with on that was possibilities of the canyon loop, the canyon round with the Green River flowing through. It's also, last clue I'll probably give out here today while I'm working on this. It's on it's near the Wyoming and Colorado borders, right? And he basically talks about blah, 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 blah. The compass now points towards the home of Point and Tree and Seeing Eye. And I'll put it up here on our screen right there probably, is the Colorado state icon has a Seeing Eye on it. So if you're on Wyoming and you're traveling and you go into Colorado, you're now pointing towards Colorado, the Seeing Eye.
Interesting.
Who knows?
I think too it's worth noting the differences between Forrest and JCB and the fact that they're kind of opposites, right?
They don't think alike. Yeah.
No. And for Forrest, his opening line is begin at where warm waters halt. And for JCB, it's begin at where cool waters flow. So it's opposite there, right? Yeah. Forrest says, and take it in the canyon down. And he's like, and follow through the canyon round. So he's definitely telling you where he's at and where he's going. And then not far, but too far to walk for Forrest. Well, we think JCB's on a horse, but the compass, take it in the rolling highs and lows. That sounds like you're going through like mountains and canyons to me, And then the last sentence, which I think is so poignant, is pass by a place where once was brown for Jon and put in below the home of Brown, which for Forrest wasn't, in that low area. I mean, he buried it, put in below. He tells you he's burying it. And Jon has said, I have not buried any treasures.
Well, the home of Brown. Now that you know that Brown's a fish, you're like, oh dang, man! I should have got one. But it's a lot easier when you get when they give you the information, because even here where they say where once was Brown, I'm not thinking, oh man, it's a fish named Brown. How would anybody know that they named a fish named Brown?
Right. So, well, and before I jump into, I know we want to make sure we want to keep this one a little bit on the shorter side. We got a lot going on with the Golden Greed, and we do want to talk about that before we end this video. But
that's coming out tonight.
You want to hear my conspiracy?
I love conspiracies, so that won't cause controversy.
I love a little conspiracy. Yeah. It's something to be said between in editions 1, 2, and 3 of the book. It still says Santa Fe, Arizona, and not Santa Fe, New Mexico. The only place it says Santa Fe, New Mexico is on the ebook, and there's nothing on Jon's website that says that there's been an adjustment or needed to be an adjustment. So is it that there's an error in the printing, or is it that there's an error in the ebook?
1, 2, and 3 still has the error. I mean, at what point are you going to fix that? And I look, there is no Santa Fe, Arizona that I know of. So if someone knows of a Santa Fe, Arizona,
Let us
I
know.
know.
Shoot us an email. Comments at treasurehuntwithus.com.
That's right.
I've never been able to say that appropriately.
Comment, like, subscribe. I just leave it scrolling now on the bottom because we never remember. So
we never remember to say it, but please like, subscribe. The more subscribers we get, listen. If JCB, if you're watching and you're like, what are these crazy two people doing? Come see us, JCB. We've sent your publicist a couple emails. Yeah. She's probably thinking I'm stalking her. We'd love to interview you. We think now more than ever, it's important to reinvigorate the people who are on your hunt and make sure that they know there's still a lot to say out there. Because I think you've got tons to say about what's going on. That said, I don't think it hurts that Justin's book launches tonight at midnight. And you can actually get the Kindle tonight at midnight.
Yes, you can. And here's the thing. Hopefully my book shows up. But here's the thing. So we interviewed Froggy. His hunt's coming up. We're going to try to interview Justin about his hunt. And we're going to start doing videos.
We TikToked him. We X'd him. We will find other ways to get a hold of him, too.
We will bug him. I will sick Emma on him. And
I will encourage
she will track him down.
To come talk
he doesn't have to, but if he does, great. We'll have a good time with him. We interviewed KPro about the Forrest Fenn. Justin, that would be great to have Justin on here.
Fantastic.
So, anyways, and we'll drop our first video that is not TTI. There's Treasure Inside, probably Friday. We're going to try to do a very first video of the Map's Edge, our first impressions, what we thought of the video, the shows, and then of course the beginning of the book. I'm gonna go steal Mom's book. She's a half mile from me. She's getting her book tomorrow. I'm getting it. I don't get it till Monday. I don't know why, but
5 books.
I'm stealing her book. FYI, Mom, you're watching this. I'm coming. I'm taking your book tomorrow, and you can't do nothing about it. Please.
It's my fault, Mom. I told him it'd be there. I'm sorry, Mom. But how does that happen? I order 5 books the same night within 15 minutes of each other because it's 3 different addresses, making sure they're all going to the right places. 2 will be in North Carolina tomorrow. No problem.
Do you order it on Amazon? Because Amazon hates me.
3 will be in North Carolina tomorrow. And then 1 to Mom, 1 to you. And Amazon does hate you. I just think Amazon hates you.
They hate
the post office hates you. Amazon hates you. I feel like you should have a little bit of a self-esteem issue.
I'm always the last to get the books. It's just a thing.
You're so last. But the good news is tonight the book drops on Kindle at midnight. And so I will get that at midnight. We will have that. And then also Golden Greed tonight, midnight. We believe Pacific Standard Time. So I will set my alarm to get up at 3 a.m. And I will start binge watching. I don't want to miss a minute. I don't want to have someone say something out there and me to feel like, oh man, I saw it there, so I missed something because I read it like a spoiler, right? I want to see it all in that right frame. I'm going to have to, I have to work in the morning. I'm filming from the beach this week. I'm not in my normal chair area. But I'm going to watch all the episodes. I'm going to binge the whole thing. And then I will have some opinions and thoughts. Big shock.
Rough life. You are on the beach today. Oh my gosh.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Are you treasure hunting? Yes, I'm going to treasure hunt on the beach.
I mean, that's where pirates treasure hunted. I'm just saying.
That is true.
That's where they went.
If you see an X, dig it up.
If I see an X, I will listen, I don't want to dig things up, but if I saw an X, I would. I would. Everything is a clue now to me. I'm like, you get a clue. So I definitely would do it. The last thing that I would say about these things, and then we can like cut it short to tonight. I would say this. There's so much going on right now. And I've heard a lot of people say things like, I'm not even going to look at the Map's Edge or beyond the Map's Edge because I'm so entrenched in the TTI. And what I would say to you is this, is do not limit yourself because literally Map's Edge and the Forrest Fenn box, they run concurrently. And while there may not necessarily be that you could find them both in the same location, when you're reading about these things, and you're finding different clues, because you've read them both at the same time, you may recognize something where another one was. And so for that reason, we'll go ahead and we'll make sure to get a copy or a link to the book. We'll put something up for the link to the book because we really want to make sure you don't want to have what happened with TTI happen with the Map's Edge. Because what you don't want to do is not get a book because they're all sold out and then you're waiting months. And Justin said on X, the hardest part of this whole process has been dealing with the printing portion.
Yeah, you're going to want the book, even if you don't jump right into it. This is going to take, these treasure hunts don't take a long time, or don't solve quickly.
Yeah, they're going to
take a long time. Yeah, so you're going to want a book. Look at, here's what I found. When I take a break working different boxes, I then can come back and my mind is refreshed. It's like so easy to dive back in this. Plus, if I read how Justin reads, I could be like, oh my gosh, Justin's talking like this, maybe it can help me in TTI, right? Here's how he's delivering clues. Maybe that makes me think differently with JCB, or vice versa, so I'm excited to have both treasure hunts, and then soon S's quest 3 also. So that's going to be in the next month. We will be 3 hunting treasures, so it'll be fun.
I mean, just a couple boots on the ground a week.
That's it. Just
a little bit more boots on the ground. I will tell you, I'm going to call you as soon as we're done with this, because I have a thought on the Pokemon box that I had today. And it's original. And
breaking news that we will talk about.
Where's Mike? Breaking news. I used my brain today. I was in a car for 4 hours. So I had a thought about that. Like, I've read that chapter a million times, and something struck me odd again for the second time in 2 weeks. So
I think something struck me odd when you said you used your brain today.
Oh, wow. It's like that. Okay. Okay. Well, I think we've got a lot coming down the pipe this week. So there's a lot that you're going to see. Again, another episode from us on Friday, but not for TTI. It's going to be specifically only for Beyond the Map's Edge. We will continue to dig deep into this Forrest Fenn box. We'll come back again as we think we can identify some additional clues. We'll come see. If anybody wants to talk with us about what they heard here today, or you have some thoughts on these things, please don't hesitate to comment or email us. We're glad to talk through those kinds of things. We've got a lot coming out on the line. So if you need us, gosh, it's not hard to find us. We're around all the time these days.
Yep, and we're going to be jumping back in a little bit of Pokemon box 2, apparently, it sounds like. So we are working now.
We're coming up on that.
3 boxes at the same time. That's not too much.
Same time. 3 boxes, and Estes coming up in 2 weeks. I mean, come on, of course, we have plenty of time.
I was talking to Cake in Discord, and she's working all 5 TTI boxes at the same time. All 5 boxes same time. Good on you. So I don't know how you're doing it.
That's a bite of cake I don't think I could chew. I don't think I could chew that bite of cake.
Yeah, piece of cake. Oh, come on.
It's not a piece. I mean, all day. She's got 5 slices.
She got 5 slices.
That's a lot. That's impressive. It's impressive.
That's why
you keep them all together. I remember actually my very first boots on the ground with Pokemon.
Yeah.
And I was in the Hamden Hollow, and I come across this log kind of draped across these other 2 logs, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's over, under, in between, except for that's not the Pokemon box.
Yeah, I know. I get them so confused. But
I think I sent you the video, and then I was like, wait a minute.
For all the boxes throughout the boxes. Yeah. So that's interesting. It opens your eyes. She's saying the whole entire book has clues for all the chapters, all the boxes.
I will challenge that, because I do agree with her. There's a comment
ebooks, right?
Here's the thing. There's a comment in the How to Read the Book where it says there's clues for each of the boxes throughout. And I mean, he does eventually say something else, and then he sells each of the ebooks. I mean, here's the thing.
He's confusing.
He definitely has his moments. He's got his challenges. But here's the thing. Why not maximize on it? Like, if he was smart. He obviously has his fingers on the pulse of how to market. He's got his fingers on the pulse of how to get information out there. He easily put out these books in individual chapters. So what if the person couldn't afford a whole nother $50 book, but they wanted to work specifically? I mean, there's no reason not to break it up. He says whatever you need is available inside there. But if there's additional clues that just help the clues kind of make more sense.
Yeah. Yes.
Help the clues make more sense. Well, then that's about reading his theme and understanding his style. In Forrest Fenn is a great example of that. Jon spent over a month reading everything that Forrest ever wrote, reading everything that Forrest ever recommended, watching every video, he read all the articles. He did all of that before he ever put a boot on the ground. And so for him, it was about getting into the mind of the man. And so wouldn't it make sense to get into the mind of the man when you're working on JCB?
Yeah, and to the flip side of that, right, is just because you have only the chapter doesn't mean you can't solve this.
Right.
So that doesn't mean that there can't be clues in the big part of the book. It just means that you don't necessarily need them. You don't, and he even says it, you don't need all the clues. Why would you have to say you don't need all the clues? We know you don't need all the clues. Nobody's going to decipher every single clue you got in here. So that's just the flip side of it, is it could be in there. So what do we always say? Read the book, read the whole book, read the whole book again.
Read the whole book. Read the whole book again. Keep reading the book. I'm currently
and Justin's whole book.
Yeah.
218 pages. Where's the Audible? Let's get an Audible.
Why does nobody do an Audible? Like, we need an Audible. Well, who's going to read these books to me?
Will Wheaton is a great reader. Get a hold of Will Wheaton.
Will Wheaton is a great
He's a great reader. He reads Ready Player One
and
in the Audible. Yes, he's a tremendous reader.
Tremendous job. Will, where are you? We need you.
Will, a job. He actually reads a lot of books. He's a really good reader. So, but JCB, Justin, get a hold of him. Get him to Audible your book. I'll buy it. So.
Listen, we've bought all the other ones. Why would we stop now? So there we go.
With Will Wheaton, he's such a good reader. I would be like, this is interesting.
He's like, you had me at Will.
This necklace is so amazing.
It's making me uncomfortable. No, okay.
Hey, I'm just saying. I like the earrings and the bracelets so much more when Will Wheaton reads. I can't even say his name. Will Wheaton. WW.
Yes. Will Wheaton. Okay, perfect.
Wheaton.
Will Wheaton. Okay, so clearly what you've learned from this is we'll be back on Friday. You'll see some great shorts, including a short about Salt-Faced Mule. I was there this last week when I did my boots on the ground, so that's going to be out. There's going to be a short about safety because I might have fallen a little bit, but I was able to get up, so it's okay. There's good stuff coming down the line. Until then, we're going to see you guys on Friday. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, comment, send emails, do it all. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you.
Treasure hunt with us, we gon' light it up. There's treasure inside, yeah, we rising up. If you're gonna treasure hunt, why not treasure hunt with us? We the ones, we the truth, yeah, we won't give up. They said the past is buried, but we dig it out. A cipher in the shadows, what's this all about? A jam got the vision, Emma got the